Hey there guys, it's Misty here from the Jollified Elf. Welcome back to another video. This is the first 5 cards in my 10 cards 1 kit for the July 2018 Paper Pumpkin. I am so obsessed with this kit, so stinking cute. Before we get started though, if you've never subscribed to Paper Pumpkin before, you can get 50% off your first box by using the coupon code that's on your screen. Paper Pumpkin is a monthly subscription box available from Stampin' Up. It comes with all the supplies that you need to create whatever projects they have. And then I do my best to show some alternative projects. So let's get started on the cards. So for my first card here, I am scoring a piece of blueberry bushel at 5.5, and I've cut it at 4 1/4 to make 2 portrait style cards. Cutting a couple of pieces of Whisper White down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I'm going to use my bone folder to fold down on that edge and use some snail to attach the Whisper White layer on the inside. I'm going to take apart this basket. This is meant to be 3D, but I want it to be 1-dimensional, or I guess 2-dimensional, so I can put it on my card. I'm going to take the handle and attach it, and then I'm going to trim it down. Once I've done that, I'm going to bring in a piece of this gingham or buffalo check tissue paper, and I'm going to adhere that down and then trim it up. This is going to be my little fruit basket for my strawberries and my blueberries. Before we get any further though, I'm going to use a piece of the Granny Apple Green Designer Series paper. This is a 6x6 stack. This paper is probably my favorite, and I love all of them, all the colors. I'm adhering a piece of blueberry bushel ribbon around my basket, and then I'm adding the fruit with some snail. I'm going to use 3 blueberries and 2 strawberries, and then I'm going to adhere all of this together to my card base using the dimensionals that are included. Once I've adhered that, I'm going to go ahead and add a bow, and once that's done and I've trimmed up the edges, I'm going to add that with a glue dot. Now glue dots come with this kit, but I prefer the ones that come on a roll. So next it's time to stamp our sentiment. I'm going to bring in my blueberry bushel ink. I'm going to stamp the thank you, and I'm going to adhere that to the basket, and that's it for the first card. For the second card, this one's also going to be super simple. I'm adhering the other white card layer to the other blueberry bushel card base. I'm going to cut down this piece of the Granny Apple Green gingham tissue paper to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I'm going to adhere that down using snail directly to the card base. Once I've done that, I'm going to take one of these apple envelopes and I'm going to cut off everything around it because I just want the label with the apples. Absolutely love the colors in this. It just looks so good. So this is probably going to be one of the more simpler cards that I've made. I'm going to take 2 of the apples and I'm going to adhere them down using snail, and then I'm going to bring in the For You sentiment and again use the blueberry bushel ink to stamp this onto the label, and then I'm going to add the label using dimensionals. But first I'm going to bring in a Wink Stella pen, and I'm going to go ahead and color my apples using the Wink Stella just to give them a little bit more interest. Again, this is going to be probably this most simple, well, it is the most simple card. I made all 10 of them. I've made all 10 of them, so I know this is one of the more simple cards. Once I've done that, I'm going to bring in some rhinestone jewels, and I'm going to add 3 at the top and then 2 at the bottom left. And that's going to be it for this card, guys. I'm telling you, super simple, super easy. If you're interested in August Paper Pumpkin, you just need to sign up by the 10th. So this card, you guys should have known this one was coming. I'm cutting down a piece of Gorgeous Grape to 5.5 by 8.5, and I've squared it at 4 1/4. Then I'm going to add another Whisper White card layer. Then I'm going to bring in a piece of Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to run this through the basket weave embossing folder that Claudia sent me, so thank you, Claudia, I appreciate it. And I'm going to adhere that down. Now, I made the mistake of using snail. You can't do that. It's one of those 3D embossing folders, so make sure you use a liquid glue or tear and tape, etc. Then I'm going to bring in the 2 1/4, the 2, the 1 3/8, the 1 1/2, and the 1-inch circle punch. And I am just punching some of those envelopes to get the pattern because I wanted it to be substantial, more substantial than the tissue. And here you can see me writing down the ones I used. So I would remember. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere most of these with snail, and they did stick to this side, so that was lucky. And then I'm going to take a couple and put them up on dimensionals just to give the card a little bit more dimension. These three colors together are life. I loved them so much. Once I've done that, I'm going to bring in one of the labels, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Gorgeous Grape ink, and I'm going to stamp this For You sentiment. I got more use out of this sentiment than any other ones in the kit. This is the Gorgeous Grape stripe ribbon. I'm going to tie a small bow, and then I'm going to adhere that to the tag using glue dots again after I've trimmed down the tails. And then I'm going to add this tag to the card using dimensionals. And this pack of dimensionals is from like 8 kits ago, I swear. Then I'm going to bring in the glitter enamel dots, and I'm going to use some of the Coastal Cabana and a few of the Gorgeous Grape. And that's that simple and quick card, but I love it. Another simple card, this time I'm using the Poppy Parade cardstock. Again, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then a Whisper White card layer that's just a 1/4 inch short. This is another simple one. I'm going to bring in 2 pieces of vellum, and I'm going to adhere those to the card base just using snail. I found that I couldn't see it through that, and I was covering it with strawberries anyway. So I am adhering the big strawberries flat, and then I'm going to add the small strawberry propped up. I am going to add Wink of Stella in a minute, so I would advise you doing your strawberries first before you add them. So I'm going to bring in the Thinking of You, and I'm going to use the Poppy Parade ink and stamp it on one of the labels. And then once I've done that, I'm going to adhere that label to that piece of gingham tissue so I can cut it out and have a border. Now you could have adhered that to a piece of white paper and done that, but this was just a simple. And then I added some dimensionals and got this adhered. Then added the Wink of Stella, and then this card was super done. Oh, I forgot about rhinestones. Oops, my bad. I miss the White Perfect accent so much, but it's okay. It's okay. My Wink of Stella pen got a lot of use this time. I really love it. Adds a little bit of dimension. You can see how glittery it is. So pretty. So this last card was the most involved out of all of them. I'm using the hand-delivered stamp. This is one of those hostess stamps that you can pick when you get when you place an order of $150 or more. So I'm stamping the balloons just once, but I'm stamping the skirt and the legs twice. Once on one of the small card bases that came in the kit, and then again on the white. And I'm going to do some paper piecing with the skirt. So I'm just cutting that out with my paper snips, and then I'm going to bring in a black Sharpie marker and go around the edges. Since this had a white backing, you could definitely see the white core. I'm going to use my stamping blends. This is the ivory, and then I'm going to use the dark Granny Apple Green and the dark Poppy Parade to color. And then I'm going to bring in the envelopes, and I've punched out some using the 1-inch circle punch, and then I brought in the smallest circle from the from the layering circle framelits and cut out a few as well. I wanted a 1 1/4 inch, but unfortunately we don't have that punch, or if we do, I don't have it. So luckily that circle in those layering circle framelits is that size. So I'll bring on in my paper snips, and then I'm going to cut out both images. I left you can see the string, I just cut around it, and then later you're going to see me use my Pool Party blend and color that. I brought in that blueberry bushel and added it to the skirt because I wanted to bring in a little bit more of that blue. Here's that Neutrals Designer Series paper that I was telling you about. I absolutely love it. Here I'm trying to decide what color I want to put her against, and I decided on the crumb cake striped. Before I get ready to adhere that, I'm going to go ahead and score that other card base from the last card and insert my card layer. I always add card layers when it's a darker cardstock. So I'm taking this polka dot ribbon, and I'm using the dark Poppy Parade blend to dye it. And this is one of the great things about our blends. They're alcohol markers, so you can use them to dye ribbon, you can use them on rhinestones, you'll see me do that too, etc. This was a little messy, so you see I have my paper down, and then I went and washed my hands because it did get a little smeary. Once I've done that, I've cut it down to size and I've adhered it to this card layer using washi tape. And then I'm gonna add this straight down. Once I've done that, I'm gonna adhere the little girl together, her legs and her top, and then I'm gonna add her to the card using some Stampin' Dimensionals. Once I've done that, I'm gonna bring in one of the red gingham circles and I'm gonna add that to the card using a dimensional, and then I'm gonna stamp the happy birthday sentiment onto the flag using blueberry bushel. I added a dimensional on the right side and adhered its flat on the left side with snail. Then I'm gonna add a couple of rhinestones that are colored, and that's it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these 5 cards. If you missed it, I announced my Color Your Season card class. You have until the 15th. There will be a link down below to today's blog post, and that will have a link to the other blog post. So again, thank you so much. All the supplies will be linked down below or over in the coordinating blog post along with more pictures. So I will see you guys tomorrow for the remaining 5 cards in this kit. Thanks so much, guys. Bye for now.